When rebellious creative minds take to the screen, nations begin to tremble. I'm Joana, and today we will explore the extraordinary works of the father of African cinema, Ousmane Sembène. I don't know if I pronounced the name well, please, sorry, it's on the screen. He was a fisherman's son from Tinguinco, born in 1923. From a very young age, he was introduced to the Sarah spirituality or religion through his mother and made as a servant there in this religion, but he didn't take it seriously. He even drank offerings meant for the ancestors. Still, it's those early experiences that would later shape his work, which draws on Sarah themes, which is part of the divine. After clashing with his principal, Sembène left school and worked briefly with his father, despite being prone to seasickness. He moved to Dakar and took a manual job. During World War II, he was drafted into the Senegalese Tirailleurs and later served with the Free French forces. After the war, he joined the CGT and the Communist Party, helping lead anti-colonial strikes. And along the way, he discovered writers like Claude McKay and Jackie Romain. Sembène's early novels drew heavily from his life. He told stories of oppression and resistance. But he realized something: books would reach only the cultural elites. So he turned to film, calling it the People's Night School, a way to reach a much broader African audience. So in 1963, he made his first film, a short called Boronsaret, the Vagona. So the next year, he made another short, Niaye. Then in 1966, he made his first feature, La Noa Day, that's the Black Girl, based on one of his own short stories. It was the first feature film ever released by a sub-Saharan African director. Even though it was only 60 minutes, it won the Prix Jean Vigo and brought immediate international attention to African cinema and Sembène himself. He followed this with Mandabi in 1968, finally producing a film in his native Wolof language. His later Wolof language films include Zala, based on his own novel, Tsedo, Kam Detia, and Guelva. I don't know how to pronounce all these names. But the Senegalese release of Tsedo was heavily censored. They officially banned it because of its issues with Sembène's paperwork. But some critics believe the real reason was that the government saw part of the film as anti-Muslim. So what did Sembène do? He didn't just sit down and fold his hands. He printed flyers at theaters describing the censored scenes and released the film uncut for the international market. In 1971, he made Emita, a film in French, and Diola. But it was banned again by government across French-speaking West Africa. Someone should tell them what is their problem. Why are they banning it? Anyway, Tsedo went on to the 10th Moscow International Film Festival in 1977. That same year, Sembène was invited to serve as a jury member at the 27th Berlin International Film Festival at the Berlinale. In 1979, he received the honorable prize at the 11th Moscow International Film Festival for his contribution to cinema. This is such a breath of fresh air after all the banning, they were banning his film. The thing about Sembène's film is that it's always stirred controversy because they tackled the history of colonialism, critiqued the failings of religion, examined the new African middle class, and celebrated the strength of African women. His final film, Moulade, in 2004, set in a small village in Burkina Faso, explored the sensitive subject of female genital mutilation and won awards at both the Cannes Film Festival and FESPACO. Sembène was not only a writer and a filmmaker, but he was also briefly an actor in his own film, mostly in small roles. In Mandabi, for example, he played the letter writer at the post office. Saipati Bolane, Hopper of Fepasi, called him a luminary who gave ordinary people a voice, a man of talent who stayed true to his artistic principles and integrity and dignity. Just like many indie filmmakers today, he wore many hats as a film producer, as a director, screenwriter, actor, and auteur. Ousmane Sembène died at the age of 84 in 2007 in Senegal. Ousmane Sembène is an African filmmaker who's considered the father of African cinema. I'm Joana, and that was a contemporary Africa's not enough told story.